Okay, so we were done with the chapter number 2. Now let's move towards the chapter number 3. So in this chapter we'll be learning about the rest and motion, types of motion, relative motion, distance, displacement, and you can say speed and speed types, velocity types, okay, acceleration type, equation of motions, Newton laws, momentum, conversion of mass, tension, inclined plane. Okay, so we'll be moving towards each topic. So let's talk about firstly the motion in one dimension, rest and motion, and you can say that the relative motion. Okay, so we'll be going today with the three topics. First of all, the motion in one dimension. Okay, so motion in one dimension, what I would mean that the motion in one direction, motion in one direction, but it should be on axis. Like if motion but in one direction, like if we are moving in x, okay, if we are moving in y direction, if we are moving in z direction, we will be moving but in one direction. Okay, we'll be moving in but in one direction. Okay, and this direction will be equal to the 0. As you guys all know, in axis the direction is 0. Okay, but if we are talking about at ground, so will be considered as x and y, and in space the axis will be x, y, and z. So the motion in one direction, for example, we are moving in x-axis, so that is the motion but in one direction. If we are moving in y-axis, so the motion is in one direction. If we are moving in z, so the motion is in one direction. Okay, but we cannot move on two directions. Okay, we cannot move in two directions. The motion in one direction means that the motion that will be moving or will be moving towards any of one direction. Now let's talk about the rest. Okay, so rest means that a body which is not changing its position. A body is not changing its position, like we are sitting on a chair, we are moving our hands but we are not changing the position, so that is called the rest. Okay, if a person is like walking, so that is not in rest, the person is in moving or he is changing the direction. But what if a person is sitting on chair and he is not like changing the position, so that is called the rest. Okay, now the next is the motion. What does motion means? Motions mean that a body which change its direction. Okay, a body which change its direction, like for example, you can take the example of a person, you can say a person who is walking, who is running, so a person is changing his direction. Okay, For example, take another example that a person is, you can say a person is standing from the chair and he starts moving. So means he starts moving, so that is the a person has changed its direction, so that is called a motion. If we are talking about the relative motion, so it means that uh, changing in position of a one body with respect to second body. Okay, for example, relative motion means that a person, like as the example we can take that a person in bus, the person that is in bus is, you can say, in rest, he is not changing its position. But if a person is watching a person that is moving, or you can say that that is in bus, so that person will be called as a motion. So that is called that a person that is changing in the position of a one body but with respect to the second body as well, so that is called the relative motion. Okay, so today we have covered three topics, that is rest and motion in one dimension, three, and the relative motion. Tomorrow we will be discussing about types of motion, and you can say that displacement and distance and speed. Today we'll be learning, today we have learned the four topics, and tomorrow will be covered also four topics.